If you're anything like me, you and your sister used to spend hours looking at a big fat dog encyclopedia, trying to manifest the pet of your dreams. And if this is you, you probably have a really obscure knowledge of dog breeds now, and you probably weren't allowed a pet. But maybe you were allowed a virtual one. And I'm not talking about Tamagotchi, Pixel Chicks, or God forbid, scanners. No, I'm talking about The Sims 2 pets. So in this video I'll be jumping straight into the stories, or well, absence of stories, of all these handheld versions of the Sims 2 Pets games, and letting my thoughts on them be known to the world. I'll be talking about The Sims 2 Pets for Game Boy Advance, The Sims 2 Pets DS, and The Sims 2 Apartment Pets. Just a word of warning, I am going to spoil all these games, so if you want to play on them without any spoilers, stop watching. Alright. So without further ado, buckle up because we're going. This is the only Sims Pets game that I remember playing from childhood, and I'm not gonna lie, the only thing I remember is teaching the dog how to play dead and its leg twitching and thinking it was the funniest thing ever. It was released in 2006 and developed by our old friends at Full Fat. You know, the creators of our other favourite game, The Sims 2 Castaway DS. This game allows us to experience life as a vet, where we live in the vets, work in the vets, and the grooming table is opposite our kitchen. Health and safety, food hygiene rating, high. We are living to work as the day begins at 8 when the clinic opens and the day ends at 5 when the clinic closes, and we are forced to sleep until the next day. Wow, what a slay. A boss bitch, if you will. I created my sim, and this time she is Dr. Pooh. The customization options are just fantastic, and the faces are weirdly realistic, and look at this frazzled and dead hair. It is a slay. We can adjust the size of our Sims boobs and stuff like that, and compared to the other games, I guess we have more options, but to say it's well done would be a lie. Now we get to pick our pet, and there's many a breed one can choose, including creating your own dog or cat hybrid, crossbreeding with other types to have a different fur and a body type, and you can also adjust the size of the features. Personally, I pick the Walter dog and make my own genetically modified mutant dog, which is half something of which I don't know, on the rear of their body, with a straight line, no fade or anything, and I force them to have a massive head. Beautiful. Dr. Pooh greets the day just by talking to herself. She must be going insane living in the vets. Poor bitch. She tells us these are our needs and that we best look after them, otherwise we'll be sorry. Is she threatening us? We go and greet our first customer and we talk to ourselves like some sort of Malcolm in the Middle type shit. It's time to work and earn some money. Then Dr. Pooh goes on to say fame, fortune and riches. Dr. Pooh is insane. Saying this in front of a first ever customer. This poor bitch is just waiting to be served. Diagnosing the pet, we can use the old stethoscope to grey the anatomy on the animal and see if its heart is beating. We brush the fella, feed them, stroke them, and give them an x-ray. And once we find out what is wrong with the animal, we can then admit them and try and cure them for money. Our first customer's pet is dirty, but imagine going to the vets for a dirty animal. Pathetic. We admit the blow, and our mutant dog is also in the weird pet vault that we put the animals in. But it turns out I didn't name them, so they are just called my pet name. Dr. Pooh just be talking nonsense to herself again, and I suddenly realised that this vet's doesn't even have a roof. Poor Dr. Pooh. No wonder she's lost the plot. She must be bloody freezing. Washing our first customer's pet feels like I'm kind of abusing this poor little pooch. They're as like cowering in the bath. Dr. Pooh says that a good rub down should make them happy. We have a little play with the dog, and the dog picks up the ball with their neck. Pets are amazing. Dr. Pooh is now hungry and decides to cook an egg, but I don't have a clue how to do it. Our next customer, Steve Roosevelt, he comes in, he's so dramatic, shaking his head with his ugly pet, and also in the process I seem to have misplaced my pet name. Oh well, I'm sure he's somewhere. I decided to get my creative juices flowing by making this cat look, well, just stunning. And then I also made this cat look like a bloke. Now is the moment that I've been waiting for all my life. Our first celebrity enters the building. Hilary Duff is here, and Dr. Who is unfazed by meeting this queen. Hilary Duff is here, did you hear? This is insane. Hilary Duff is just like any other customer. She doesn't say anything Hilary Duffy. She just drops a dog off and then we cure it. If that's all there is, I decided to pick up all my shit and move to a different house. But the emulator jammed and yeah. And well, when I tried it again, it just turned out we just moved to the same place that we were just in. So then I decided to cook some food and Dr. Pooh fainted and just didn't get back up. So that's when I decided I couldn't be arsed playing this game anymore. So this game does not have a story to follow, so automatically I'm kind of not interested in it at all. What you could potentially call a story is working your way up in rank. Nintendog's dupe. The game is really boring and the music's irritating, so much so I was like, I've done all I can do in this game, I'm gonna call it a day. The goal for me was seeing Hilary Duff because she was such a special guest and a celebrity promoting the game. There's even interviews with her talking about the game, but in the actual game, she's just a cameo. Maybe if she had a bit of personality and like quoted Lizzie McGuire or something and being like,
okay, you know, you really shouldn't say that. Say what? Well, say that something's gay when you mean it's bad. It's insulting.
Or maybe she give you a bonus rank or more money or something, but she's just the same as the rest of the other peasants. A missed opportunity in my opinion. And she only visits once. As I said earlier, I did play this game as a child, but it was better living on in my memory, playing it with my sister. Because the reality was, it was really rubbish. Even not having a story, I've played on way better pet simulators. This just wasted my time. The graphics were awful, and Dr. Pooh was really annoying and unlikable. How can you play a game where you hate yourself? And doing stuff like having a shower, you step in the shower and step out the shower. Yeah, like it'd be great if showering were that easy, but I'm not stupid, you need water. The fact that it's just all work and no free time, like, well thanks, I wanted to escape my life for something that was exactly like my life. This game is alright, but if you want to play on a pet game, don't play on this, play on something funner. The Sims 2 Apartment Pets is said to serve as a sequel to the Sims 2 Pets DS game, released in August 2008, and developed again by Full Fat. It's the only game in the franchise which is not originally released on PC, and it's only available on the DS. This time we're looking after Uncle Bill's apartment, where he's given us free reign of his abode. We start by watching this weird cutscene which is just so quirky, and then we swiftly move on to the Create a Sim page, and the faces are so detailed, it's actually quite horrific the way that they are blinking. Terrifying stuff. But we can wear these flame trousers get up, and as you all know, I am quite partial to a cheeky slay. My character Pooh, she looks so cute now, and certainly is slaying. But I have a PTSD moment when I hear the notification sound in the game, and it's the same as the one that they used in the Sims Castaway DS. But I remember, we're no longer on that hellish island anymore with Chef Butcher. We're free in Uncle Bill's apartment. So I go and look at the pet snake, and I've popped a little flat cap on him. The little snake fella is called Sydney with an I. Proper Yorkshire snake. But you know, I have a saying, never trusted a man in a flat cap. I guess I can make an exception for you, Sydney. He sent us an email and says we can decorate the apartment, and then my game gets jammed. So I boot it up again and start it all over again. There's a random cutscene, and then we meet the janitor up close and personal. Uncanny Valley bloke jump scare, everyone. Janitor tells us that we are just like our uncle. A compliment and or insult. Thanks I guess. He gives us a lost puppy, and he's so puppy, and it says that he's stinky. So it's weird at first, I'm not sure how the game goes and how to stop the dog from being stinky, but we put the perfume on the circle areas and press R, and that gets rid of the smell. But surely you would wash them when they stink rather than just covering up the smell. There must be spy cameras in here, because how does Uncle Bill know that we have just inherited a dog? Meanwhile, we get a notification that a customer has just entered the building. Apparently we also run a pet spa business where we diagnose other people's cats and dogs with their ailment. We can wash them, spray them, badly brush them, but we get paid for it, and I think we get like 5 customers a day. At the end of the day, we get Selena, a friend of our uncle jump scare, and she gives us a cat. Lovely. We return to Uncle Bill's apartment, and now the janitor is taking away our dog. Wait, what? I thought he was my pooch. Is the cat gonna get taken away too? Well, I don't really mind the cat getting taken away because I don't really like it, but after my dog got taken away, I didn't really want to play the game anymore. Our uncle mate's Hattie comes up and asks us to look after their dog who's called Poopy Kings, and that's where I draw the line. I do think the game was quite fun when you realise you have to press the R button whilst grooming the animals, etc. Although I couldn't quite get the hang of the brushing mechanic, but I think there was an issue with it, as it does say that on the walkthrough too. I found some random concept art as well, which looks very painterly. I'm grateful that this version of The Sims doesn't have any music in it like the other ones. Just the ambient sounds of the city. It's actually quite a relaxing game. In the apartment, there are some pets that are already there, such as a snake, bird, hamster, guinea pig and a rabbit. I put a flat cap on each and every one of the little guys. Yorkshire propaganda. One by one, I will flat cap each and every animal in the world. Instead of water, we'll have varieties of Yorkshire teas coming from the taps. Yorkshire will win. Anyway, once you've dressed them up and bought them a toy, there's nothing really else to do with them. You can't even stroke them. What's the point? But with the snake, you can play a snake charming game, and with the bird, you can do a bird boogie game. And with the cats and dogs, you can also do a treasure hunt, which I guess is kind of fun. But once you've done that a couple of times, the novelty wears off and there's not really much to do except running that pet spa. But even then, all of the animals have the same personality, and it really becomes tedious after the first in-game day. The fact you can't own your own little guy and name them is really sad. Instead, you temporarily adopt a sorry little soul, and once you become attached to the little guy, it gets snatched away from you. It's horrible. But I guess it's great for teaching kids about how something you love can get snatched away from you so suddenly. We also have a lovely album of the animals we have loved and lost, so we can relive our experience of the pet that we had for one day. Overall, I do think this game is fun, if you're bored and gotta kill like an hour or so, but again, it ain't no Nintendogs. Well, let me start off by saying that this game makes me like The Sims 2 for Game Boy Advance. What an absolute ordeal. It's so misleading as the graphics are so similar to that of the Herbs and Bustin Out, but let me tell you, the story is not. It's a slog and it's probably taken me about 50 hours to play. I started playing this game on the 4th of April and completed it on the 23rd, but wow, wowee. This game has broken me emotionally and physically, but because there were not any videos of the highlights, if there are any, of this game on YouTube or any kind of video assistance for the parts that I got stuck on, so I will play on it for you. You're welcome. I have sacrificed my sanity to help another poor soul who potentially puts themselves through the anguish of playing on this specific Sims game, or to possibly prevent and deter anyone who thinks that playing this game is a good idea. The Sims 2 Pets was the first and only Sims game developed by Artificial Mind and Movement. Yeah. And published by EA. It was released in November 2006 and is the fourth and final Sims game released on the Game Boy Advance. So as per every Sims game, we create our sim, and here, our beautiful Pooh in the flesh, right here, right now. I've chosen myself to be neat, and in hindsight, well, look at the bloody state that my apartment ends up in. I guess it didn't work. Well, welcome to our new home, aptly named Barkersville, as this game is about pets after all. We are greeted by Evan the postman, who knows my embarrassing name for some reason. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm being kind of a bitch because I headcanon my character Pooh to hate all animals. So I give the most unhinged I hate animals answers to my fellow townsfolk, but they are all absolutely unbothered by my actions. Evan asks us if we notice anything different about this town, and we're like, well, yeah, there's all these bloody loose animals wandering about. Apparently, these are all people's pets, and in Barkersville, everybody has a pet, and the townsfolk are all crazy for cats and dogs. They almost renamed the town to Meow Town, but I guess the power of dogs was too strong. This bloke has tried to convince us to get a pet to fit in, but I'm not sure I want the responsibility yet. I'm just getting over my trauma of living in a town where it was all just reality TV show. Well, he shows us our home, and the music do be hitting, but I tell you what, 50 hours of listening to this music is enough to drive you insane. The old postie tells us that if we don't pay our rent, the bailiffs will be round to take all our stuff. Fantastic. Evan then disappears and I go to the door and there's just some random bitch standing there. I want to tell her to bog off, but she's got that green thing above her head, so I guess I'll have to do something for her. I go and speak to her and she tells me what all the colours of the exclamation marks above her head mean. And like, can she see those exclamation marks herself? It's all kind of weird, but the cheeky cow now says that if she has a yellow exclamation mark, she's waiting for us to do something for her. Honestly. We have a little chat to her. There's these weird emojis and things get faster and faster and you can juggle, play rock, paper, scissors, and it's kind of fun if I have to play it, I guess. Joanna's a name, by the way. She asks us how many pets we have. This town is so weird. I need to buy furniture before I get a pet, I exclaim. And she's like, well, let's go shopping, then we can think about your pet. Apparently her dog goes everywhere with her, but I can't see him. I get stuck on the chatting minigame and I don't know how to make it end, but eventually I do, and I go back to my house. And the bitch is still here. And then I put my shower in the wrong way, in the wrong room, and I don't know how to change it, but I carry on slaying. Now, all the boring moving shite is done. I guess I'll explore this Barkersville place. Whilst exiting my house, I come across this fool juggling outside my door called Terrence. He rudely asked me, why am I so glum? Well, you wanna know why I'm so glum? Because I'm talking to your ugly mug. No, I'm sorry mate, I'm just having a bad day. You go on. He says he used to work at a circus, so he knows if people are glum or not. And then he has the bloody cheek to ask where my pet is. You know what? I'm already getting sick of this pet-obsessed town. I run away from the bloke to meet beautiful Amy, the local pet looker after her, to make her give me a job. I beg and beg, and she is very hesitant to give me a job. But once I walk the pets, I realise why she should not have trusted me with these bloody dogs, because the lead broke. But why am I even walking people's pets if people take them everywhere with them? They don't need me to walk them. I give it another attempt, and I also shit myself because I thought I had strangled and killed the dog as a weird siren went off at the end. I buy myself this funny white hound and name him Pootu in honour of me, and hopefully these bloody townies stop giving me such a hard time for not having a pet, but probably not. Pootu is a funny little man. He pisses, wrecks everything, and does a funny little dance in the shower. I show off to Terrence since I've got a pet now, and I should fit in, but he's talking a whole load of shite, which, Jesus Christ, I am not reading, my God. In hindsight, all of this information would have probably helped me, but my sim, poor old Pooh, she'd really be on the struggle bus. I collapsed, got a bill from the doctors for collapsing, and the dog, he'd just be watching. Why did I get a dog when I can't even look after myself? We finally get promoted at dog walking, then precious Amy wants us to clean downtown, so we give her all the trash. Yes, mistress. And you know what? I think I'm finally getting the hang of this game. I think I'll just pop home for a second for a nap. And I open the door, and what has happened to my bed? This is just the start of my bed antics. I mean, what am I gonna do? All the stores are closed. I can't sleep. I just be parading around with my bed in my hands. What am I gonna do? What am I supposed to do with this now? The army bloke called Otis, who is just a pet trainer, well, we make him twerk for us, and now he wants us to get a referral so we can be trained. We ask beautiful Amy if she'll vouch for us, but she'll only do it if we find some lost bastard dog. And here is a bloody Hugo 2-Heck jump scare. I guess it was the dog that be breaking my bed because the bastard dog has broke my bed again. Once we found that lost dog, we can finally compete in the beginner competition, and now the pirate wants us to find an ordinary cat and an ordinary dog and give them to the pirate. So I've just got all these random animals following me like I'm the bloody Pied Piper or something, and the pirate, well, his creative juices be flowing. He's on that easel like a hecking man. Now that horrible Terrence bloke wants us to beat Hugo 2-Heck to a pulp with our amazing tricks, because too many people are hanging out with Hugo, stealing the crowds away from Terrence so he can buy his snazzy suits. But you know, Hugo is homeless and he needs the support, whereas Terence is just an arse. We reluctantly defeat Hugo, but he's ever so gracious in his defeat, God bless him. Now it's time to battle Terence's cat, beat the living daylights out of the poor little thing. Onto a more personal note, I have bought my precious dog the finest bed in all the land. He now owns a Grecian temple as a decoy from ruining my bed constantly. At this point in the game, the game jammed, my shower disappeared, and because there's all plates and shite all over the floor, because I don't know what to do with this rubbish and things like that. And well, I guess the decoy bed did not work because the dog has ruined my bed. Jade bloody Pringy, bane of my life. Well, she thinks we're good at competing, but she wants us to win the gold medal twice. We eventually win it, and I return home, and everything I own has turned to soot. And because my fridge is broken, I have to eat dog food. Here in Barkersville, life is exquisite. There's a lot of passive aggressiveness going on as well. Everyone in town seems to hate Jade. Miss Jade, she now wants to get us this book of tricks from Meredith, but she gives it to us in such a weird way. So many snarky, passive aggressive remarks towards Jade. We get the book, but Jade now wants more from us, like references. It's supposed to be a game. This is supposed to be fun. It's like we're applying for a job or something with all these references everyone wants from us. Well, we find this Selena girl and she's kind of slaying. She wants us to win another level of competition before she gives us a reference. So we do that because we're just so talented. Us, Pooh, and our little Pooh too. We slay it, and now Selena has asked us to cook her a bloody home-cooked meal. What a random thing to ask for. After collapsing from starvation, attempting to find Selena whilst clasping the home-cooked meal in my sodden, weak and trembling hands. And I also turned green for some reason. I finally give this bitch the food she asked for, and all it took was having a decent level of cooking, taking the food out the bloody fridge, preparing the food on a bloody bunker that I had to buy, and then cooking that bloody food on a bloody stove that I had to bloody buy, and then hoping she was in the right bloody place so I could give this bitch the bloody supper that I've painstakingly made for her days on end, bitch. And the dog destroyed my bloody bed again, so I'm on like bed number 6 now. What an ordeal. And if that wasn't enough, she now wants me to buy her Ms. Elegant the Parrot, which is like 20k simoleons. Listen, Celia, I'm gonna call you the wrong name, I don't care anymore. Listen, Scylla love, what did your last slave die of? I should have got a bird because a bird wouldn't have ruined my bed. This dog has. I guess this guy, Raphael, who I've never met or spoken to before, will vouch for me and give me a good referral, right? So all he wants us to do is slay the competition. And I can slay that, but not before this bastard dog destroys my bed again. But at long last, we win the bloody competition. Now we have all the referrals we need to join Jade's pathetic little club. Oh God, I hate her. But it turns out that this Raphael bloke wasn't even part of the club. Did he lie to me? Anyway, Jade's first order for us to do is spread anti-Selena propaganda. I mean, it's kind of a slay, but listen, Jade love, who hurt you? What did Selena do? Nevertheless, we give these letters to the townsfolk, and I can only imagine the evil scripture that Jade has vomited all over these pages about poor Selena. Jade now wants us to fall out with Selena ourselves. We have to make our relationship to -60, and bloody hell, what an absolute slog trying to make this woman hate me. It's just so hard being so lovable. Raphael, who lied about a member, now wants to become a member. Jade wants us to clean up and buy a shrub for the outside of the clubhouse to get our mate Raphael in the club. But for some reason, we also have to beat her in a duel. And honestly, I feel like this is the point where most people will give up. I was stuck on this battle for, I reckon, about a week, but it felt like a lifetime. And I understand why people would give up at this point, because it's literally so difficult. No matter what anyone says, for me this was the toughest part of the game, but I persevered because I wanted to make this video and I'm just too bloody stubborn. But it's done now and I can continue with this hellish game. Once we're promoted to the highest level in the dog walking, Amy will say there's nothing more you can learn from me and my beautiful face, and suggests we go to the vets and become a vet. Meanwhile, the thief has stolen my bed, my dog food, my dishwasher, and left these mysterious notes lying around my apartment. I'm now on bed number 8. You know, that career path? I'm excited for the future, going from a dog walker to a vet without any schooling whatsoever. What a slay. So to become a vet, we've got to get Hugo to come to the vets and Rod Stewart to come to the vets. I think that this homeless bloke, Hugo, is kind of taking advantage of me. I just want to complete the game, but now he's making me give him money for literal trash. But I pay him. I'm so fed up with it. And he's chatting all this shite about a bunny who's hid his dog toy or something, and we need to help him. And then Rod Stewart asks us to dig up his ancestor's pendant, and then says we can have it, and then wants to battle us. This town is stranger than Strange Town. The vet woman now wants us to buy some art for the clinic, because that is where the finest art belongs, in a place where animal fluids and excrement can get on it. So of course, when she begs for me to restore it when it gets ruined, I smugly state, I told you so. But then she asks for a donation for the charity. I don't even know what the charity is for. Probably the charity of Karina's greedy back pocket. So I pay up, then she asks for more and more, until I end up handing her 2.5k for a flea treatment I don't even need. Yet again, I've been taken advantage of as a new parent of my puppy Poo-Too and the new girl in town. I'm in disbelief of how things roll in Barkersville. I've been taken for a fool. I'm the laughing stock of town. Raphael now is asking for truffles and says that he'll do a painting for us. Well, I don't really want a painting, but I get him the truffles just to keep the old boy out of trouble. He's happy painting. And I go back to receive my painting and he asks for more truffles and that we come back on Saturday. We finally become the vettiest vet of all vets in the world, and the vet woman also can no longer teach us anything anymore. She tells us that there's someone better than her. And better than me? Better than me? Why, never. Devor? Devour? I'm told to ask around about this mysterious being to find out more about him. Otis tells us to not say that name around here. Okay. Other people be like, oh, he comes round once a year. Who is he? Santa Bloody Claus. I asked my queen Amy about him, and she bluntly says, never heard of the bloke. What a slay. And then Hugo and the pirate are just kind of chilling under the bridge. What are they up to? Hugo then tells me to not worry about Davor, because there's an alien that comes to him at night time. Oh, this poor bloke, he deserves better. Meanwhile, we are on now bed number 9. Today is the day, it is finally Saturday. And what do I receive from our mate Raphael? A bloody self-portrait of Raphael himself. Raphael the Great, he calls it. Good for you, mate. I hang it on my wall and I can't help but chuckle as it got robbed straight away. This is another part that I got stuck on. A line I find myself saying a lot whilst playing on this game is, where is that bitch? Where is that bastard? Because I can never find anyone. Hours and hours in game, it took me to find my Elsa. My legs were killing, my social meter depleted, I was a wreck of a human. So many misleading places, I was told. She was apparently going to be by the bungalow and the cafe and the park, but I finally found this bitch in the Pet Plaza by the chessboards on a Tuesday at 7 minutes past midnight. So I'm not sure if that will help anyone, as I do think it is completely random. I was scouring the web for answers for hours on gamescheats.com, and there were like 2 answers and the rest of the answers were about how to buy pills online. This isn't helping my situation. To my agonizing search for Elsa, I'm almost euphoric seeing her little alien cat and seeing her slaying the town of Barkersville. She is stunning. She is the moment. I've found the character that I now stan. I think in that moment that I finally found her, it almost made the game worth playing to see the beauty of the universe. No, it really wasn't. I was completely delirious with the sounds of this game. I'm pulling all-nighters, but nevertheless, I will stan her to the day I die. I'm nervous to speak to Elsa Moduglod for the first time. My voice is trembling, my hands sweating, and the only words that come out my mouth are, "Do you know where Devour is?" And for this information, she would like 3 fluffy penguins. Of course, coming right up. However, I'm swiftly brought back to reality as the bloody dog has broke bed number 10. Yet again, I cannot find where the elusive Elsa is. And by the time I smash my record button on OBS, she disappears. You couldn't make this up. You also have to give her a penguin each time you find one, so the next one is revealed to us. One is by the bin, by the vet hospital place. One is in the far left-hand side of the park with the lake. And the final one we purchased from the pirate shop. But I bought the wrong bloody penguin. But you will know it. It will be kind of purple, kind of smaller. It will be available in the shop once you have found all the other penguins. Elsa had told me she'd be waiting at this bloody bungalow. Came straight from the horse's mouth. But where is she? Missing. At this point in the game, I've maxed all my skills up. I've painted so much on my easel. I've earned all this money and I've got nothing to show for it. I guess it's really true what they say. It is lonely at the top. And bed number 11 is now destroyed, but we finally find her and she reveals where we can find this mysterious bloke, Davor. He's in the graveyard. And look at this bloke. That really is a look only someone called Davor could pull off. He's telling us all this stuff about ghosts, and meanwhile at home we're on bed number 12 as 11 got stolen. And at this point I need you all to know I have a burglar alarm, I pay my bills. I'm not sure where this is all going wrong, but I don't care enough to find out. So entering the graveyard, there's like a load of ghost animals, but Davor tells us that they're not ghost animals, they are just sleeping and their dreams are what they are saying to you, and animals can talk while they're sleeping. But when they are awake, they cannot speak human. But Davor is the only one who can communicate with the animals in the daytime. Let's make these ghost not ghost animals happy and fulfilled then. We feed a hungry dog, fix a statue, and buy a cat a bed, and they are satisfied. But I guess they don't pass on to the other side because all of these animals are still alive and definitely not dead. You know, being all transparent in a graveyard and all doesn't even mean you're dead in this game. I guess this is all enough to unlock the job Davor wants us to do. Parapsychology, simiglyphs, parapsychology? What do all these words mean? What a peculiar minigame. And now Davor is ready to battle me, and I lost this battle, but I still managed to progress in the game for some reason. So we are just progressing, becoming so successful at being a Sims 2 pet. So much so that Otis now tells us also that he cannot teach us anymore. Tells us to go to the cafe at 12 AM to find Emily the ghost, who is a blue version of Meredith. Otis then tells us to go to the fountain to meet Dorian, who is a blue version of Kirk. And apparently Otis is a medium and can contact the ghosts. Why are the ghosts in this town? What is going on? I thought it was about pets. Apparently, not only can Davor communicate with animals, he can also talk to human ghosts. He's told us to go to the lawn to speak to yet another ghost called Brad, who is terrifying. I didn't think I could get any more repulsed by that Terrence, but well, anything can happen. So at this point, all of my belongings have been stolen from my house, and I've just given up with the whole kind of furniture thing, and I'm just living with the bare essentials. I'm not sure what that is, but well, look at the state of the place. Now, the vet is telling us that we need more training from our emo pal Davor. Instead, the emo bloke has told us to go and visit the ghost, which is basically just a ghost of himself. And like, I get we're receiving scrolls with tricks on them, but what purpose do the ghosts actually serve? Why are we running after ghosts for them to never reappear? They ain't no Ephraim Earl. I really thought that getting a pet would help me fit in, but these people are so bloody weird. I would gladly never fit in here. Anyway, my pooch be learning, he be dancing, he be juggling, It's bloody breathing fire. The world is in our palms now, and Davor is ready for another battle, and this time I'll show him where the sun don't shine. We're up to bed number 15 and we finally beat him, even though the walkthrough said he was more difficult than Jade, but you know what? I slayed that bastard. Next up, Hugo. I'm pretty sure he's just convincing me to give him money for literally nothing. I've been taken for a fool. Then he asked me to get an Elvis costume for Elsa, the alien, and we give it to her and she says some weird shit about being the king or Hugo being the king. I'm really just don't know what's going on in the game anymore. I'll tell you what though, I just want to go home and vibe in my room that's filled with rubbish. These quirky little question cards left by the resident ninja that steals everything to our name. I'm on bed number 16, but do you want to know what was my last bloody straw? My toilet is being nicked. My phone that I used to order pizza on because I can't be arsed fixing my fridge has been stolen. My PC has been robbed. The most important thing that I need to order my bed when it gets stolen and or wrecked by my dog. The question cards on top of the furniture, on top of the rubbish, on top of the puddles of dog piss. I'm just absolutely sick of this game, but I do think the end's in sight. Hugo, our troubled homeless bloke, well, he wants us to speak to Nibbles the rabbit, a rabbit that only he can see. So we go to by the pond, and I was expecting like a social bunny or something, but no, it's just an exclamation mark above nothing. We hear the voice, but we are just chatting to no one. Or is this what happens when you've been living in Barkersville for too long? I wanted to see Nibbles in the flesh, or the fur, I guess. They do give us tricks. We can turn Putu into a ghost, which is kind of a slay. We're finally promoted to the most Derek of Derekakora in the parapsychology job. And Davor has this whole speech about how he cannot teach us anything anymore. But wow, we really are slaying. He tells us we need to talk to our pup, Putu. And bless him, I hate this dog, but he's just a little man. He's my little man. Selena now tells us that we can enter the spades competition, but we have to talk to all the townsfolk for their ideas or something. So I spend the majority of my time running around this godforsaken town looking for the townsfolk. Eventually we can enter the competition and we eventually go on to win it. We're now the best trainer in the world. Considering I have quite the title now, it was very, very anticlimactic. What else is there to do? Hugo, my man. Is that an exclamation mark I see? He wants us to run around the town and talk to all the bloody townsfolk again so he can beat Elsa and become the champion of the galaxy. The way that Hugo talks about Elsa, he makes her seem so dangerous. But I'd say that venomous Jade was far more dangerous, spreading her Selena propaganda. I won the Joker competition and now I'm the champion of the galaxy. And that was far easier than what these people made it out to be. Jade was the worst battle, that bitch. But anyway, I guess I saved that world from pesky Elsa and the penguins, and all Hugo has to say to us is well done. Well, it's like deja vu. We meet up with Evan the postman and he just summarises all that we have just experienced in the last, give or take, 50 hours. And then he just disappears into the abyss. Well, thanks for that, bloke. I really forgot everything that just happened. Well, I guess that's it. Is that it? Is that all I get from completing the game? Not even a cheeky treat? What is the opposite of slay? Because this is what that is. Like all the Sim Game Boy Advance games, we have our careers, which are like little mini games that are unlocked as we progress through the game. We start off as a dog walker, and when you get to the highest level in it, the experience is, well, very chaotic. Next we have the dog training competition, and it starts as a beginner course and gradually gets more and more difficult as we progress in the game. Overall there's 6 different levels, and it's like just a rhythm game where we show off our pets' tricks in an attempt to show Otis the judge that we are not sloppy. We are very good at looking after our dog, but the same structure is used when we duel against other owners, but we have 2 pets on the screen as opposed to 1 animal performing for us. After battling other owners and playing the game over and over again, I did notice that it did mess with my vision, and when I looked at the wall, it was moving downward in a similar way that the tricks would move down the screen. We love this game. When we become a vet, it's kind of cool. We put powder on the fleas and it gets gradually more difficult, and then there are more evil fleas that are more stubborn, and you syringe up some suspicious green goo, pick up lice eggs, and you know what? I think I like being a vet. The final minigame is Parapsychology with Davor in the Graveyard, where we communicate with the animals and collect gradually growing stars, avoiding crosses and snowflakes and locks, and fill up the animal bar. I'm not 100% on what you actually do, but I managed to get promoted enough to finish the game. The jobs are open Monday to Friday, except the Parapsychology one where it's open on Saturday, but Davor, he does not work on the Lord's Day. Unlike the other games, you don't need to earn a certain amount in one sitting. You earn a certain amount over time and get promoted that way, which I find is way more tedious. There's not much I could find about this specific game online, apart from what limited info that I could find on the Cutting Room Floor website. They have found a scrapped and unused ending where all the NPCs, apart from the cashiers, gather round the dirt circle outside Barkersville Companion Club, aka Jade's stupid little club. On top of the dirt circle is where the statue of our characters would have been erected. The following dialogue is what would have been said to our player upon completion. Hi. Hi Evan, good to see you. Would you come with me for a moment? There's something we want to show you. Me? Us? A surprise! Come with me to the BCC. Okay. It's an impressive sight, isn't it? Wow, everyone's here. What else do you see? Is that a statue? Of me? Yes, it is. This is a Barkersville tradition. We place a statue of our greatest citizen in front of the BCC as a way of saying thank you for making Barkersville a better place for Sims and their pets. Oh, thank you, I'm overwhelmed. Player sim name. You have done it all. You have the most beautiful home in Barkersville. Yar, full of treasures that would make any pirate proud. You have a marvellous relationship with your pet. You're one of the best pet walker I've ever seen. You're by far the best animal trainer that anyone has seen in competition. We're considering renaming the Barkersville Companion Club after you, but it's not just my decision, you understand. So we decided to do something else to celebrate you. To honour your great artistry with animals and for bringing so much beauty to Barkersville and its artists. Something that shows how much you've done for the pets in Barkersville. Something that shows the world how much you rock. Something that shows how grateful we are that you decided to live here. It's as if everyone here read my thoughts, Sim. We got together and built this. A gold statue of you in the town square, so bright that it can be seen from the stars. I couldn't have done it without all of you. Barkersville is the best place for Sims like us. The end. They also found unused scripts and features. The ability to travel the town by bus was planned and the descriptions of places on a world map were written, but the feature was ultimately scrapped. There are also a lot of scrapped dialogue, like the doctor dialogue, because whenever we faint or starve to death, we awaken in our apartment with a like 300 simoleon bill from a doctor that we never see. More various NPCs dialogue was scrapped, like the cashiers and the bloke that looks like Paul Bloody Adelstein standing in the park at all hours waiting for us to give him shite we have collected from the floor for money. He was actually supposed to have dialogue too. Well, you already know what I think about this game. Although there isn't much to gain from completing the game, I think the gratification of seeing it through to the end and having the weight lifted from my shoulders of never having to spend any more of my limited time on this planet playing this bloody game. It did have its moments though, like defeating that horrible Jade, meeting Elsa for the first time, teaching my dog how to juggle and breathe fire, and who can forget the best part, turning the game off for the final time. It was tedious, grindy and boring. The characters had no personality, and considering it was the fourth and final game in the Sims Game Boy Advance games, it really is the worst one of them all. The music was so good at first, but hearing the music over and over again for hours and hours on end, I found myself humming the songs when I wasn't even playing the game. It's almost like I got brainwashed by the townsfolk of Barkersville. This game well and truly made me lose the plot. While the gameplay took a long while to get through, I do kind of wish the other Game Boy Advance games just had a little bit more of the vast amount of gameplay that this one did. And I do think that the scrapped elements would have improved this game so much too. Like the NPC's dialogue, for instance, everything's just so blunt, cold and soulless. I think having a map and being able to travel through Barkersville easier would have helped too. Although Barkersville is a tiny town, running back and forth from the bungalow to Pets Plaza in the depths of night to find Elsa was exhausting for me and my stupid little sim. Even if they just had a menu just to recap on the goals that we have to complete to do the story, like in the other games, just a little bit of help. I really couldn't have done it without the help of a walkthrough. There are also a lot of things in the story that just weren't explained either. Why did we meet up with a random ghost? Why does Dava, does he live in that building in the graveyard? Why can't we use the grills around town? Why did Elsa want penguins? Why was Elsa even here in Barkersville? Why does Jade hate Celia so bloody much? And what's with Hugo and how can I help him? And when can I move from Barkersville back to Strangetown? The scrapped ending is what I'm most gutted about though. I would love to be surrounded by the townsfolk that I've come to, tolerate. And to get a statue of Pooh and little Pooh too, erected in Barkersville. But instead, all we get is the postman summarising what the events of our time in Barkersville were. Like, what was even the point? The only satisfaction that I will get is seeing my save file on 89% or something like that, and the fact that I will never have to play this game ever again in my life. I thought it was going to be more of a Nintendogs type game. I wanted more pets in the game. Like, the cover has a golden retriever, a boxer, a beagle, a hamster, but instead we can only get this Springer Spaniel in various colours, or this one cat in various colours. And the birds in the game, they're shite, they're just like an ornament in your room. And who cares about that if all my shite in my apartment gets robbed anyway? I never ended up looking after my dog very well either. I put food in his bowl and trained him, but when the food got stolen, well, I forgot about the poor bloke. It was more about looking after myself and trying to survive in this weird pet-obsessed town. I was a victim of constant robbery, my apartment being trashed, and various locals taking advantage of my kindness and giving them money. Play at your own discretion, that's all I advise. So, in hindsight, I do have to say that I did enjoy The Sims 2 Pets for Game Boy Advance the most, even though it took the longest and was very, very tedious to play. I wrote the script before I attempted the other two DS versions, so hindsight is a wonderful thing. Those DS versions were just boring. They were like a job in comparison, because I guess they were a job. At least in the Game Boy Advance version, I had weird NPCs to talk to and a story to follow. I guess if you have an hour or two to spare, play Apartment Pets rather than the Pets DS. But if you want something you can play for a longer time with an alright story and a not so rewarding ending, then The Sims 2 Pets for Game Boy Advance is for you. As always, I appreciate it if you did make it this far into this video. I'm sorry that this video has taken so long to make. My life's been kind of mad and the Game Boy Advance game just took so long to play and there's not enough time in the day and I'm just making excuses now. Excuses! No! No excuses. Thank you to the people suggesting that I should make a video about these games. And if anyone has any other ideas about any other games you want to see a video about, let me know in the comments and I'll add it to the old to-do list. Big fat kisses for everyone, and thanks again for watching, and remember, Yorkshire will win. Win what, you ask? I'm not really sure.